This ordinary North London street became the final chapter in one of Britain's most disturbing murder cases. Behind me is Cranley Gardens, where serial killer Dennis Nilsen lived when police uncovered a horrifying secret hidden for years. In February 1983, a blocked drain led to the discovery of human remains. What they discovered inside Nilsen's flat would reveal a killing spree of stretching back almost 5 years and involving at least 12 young men and boys. Today we're looking at how a former police officer and civil servant became one of Britain's most notorious serial killers, how he evaded a capture for so long, and how an everyday plumbing problem ultimately brought his crimes to an end. Dennis Nilsen was born in Aberdeenshire, Scotland in 1945. His parents separated when he was young and much of his childhood was spent with his grandparents. He was particularly close to his grandfather, whose death had a profound effect on him. As a teenager, Nilsen struggled with his sexuality at a time when homosexuality was still heavily stigmatized in Britain. Seeking a way out of his rural upbringing, he joined the army at the age of 16 and served for more than a decade. During this period, Nilsen later claimed he developed disturbing fantasies involving unconscious or deceased male partners. After leaving the military, he moved to London, briefly worked for the Met Police, and later became a civil servant. To neighbors and colleagues, he appeared quiet, reserved, and largely unremarkable. But behind closed doors, something much darker was developing. In 1978, after the breakdown of a long-term relationship, Nilsen was living alone in a ground-floor flat on Melrose Avenue in Cricklewood. That year, he committed his first known murder. Many of Nilsen's victims were vulnerable young men. Some were homeless, others were students, tourists, or people he met in pubs and bars across London. He would often offer them food, alcohol, or somewhere to stay before bringing them back to his flat. Once there, he would attack them, usually by strangulation. Unlike many serial killers, Nilsen did not immediately dispose of his victims. Instead, he kept their bodies for extended periods, bathing them, dressing them, and sometimes talking to them. Between 1978 and 1983, Nilsen murdered at least 12 men and boys. Some victims have never been identified. As bodies accumulated beneath the floorboards of his flat, neighbors began noticing unpleasant smells. To destroy the evidence, Nilsen burned remains in bonfires in the garden, masking the smell with old tires and rubbish. When he later moved to Cranley Gardens, he no longer had access to a garden. Instead, he began dismembering bodies and attempting to dispose of remains through the building's drainage system. This decision would ultimately lead to his downfall. In February 1983, residents complained about blocked drains at Cranley Gardens. A drainage worker investigating the problem made a gruesome discovery. The blockage contained human flesh and bone. Police were called immediately. When officers arrived at Nilsen's flat, they noticed a powerful smell. Inside, they discovered further human remains stored in plastic bags. One detective asked where the rest of the body was. Nilsen calmly replied that he would explain everything at the police station. According to officers, he admitted there and then that the story went back years. Following his arrest, Nilsen confessed to killing numerous victims. Police later linked him to at least 12 murders and several attempted murders. His trial began later that year at the Old Bailey. Nilsen did not deny responsibility for the killings, but argued that his mental state diminished his responsibility. The jury rejected that defense. In November 1983, he was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. He would spend the rest of his life behind bars. The Dennis Nilsen case remains one of the most shocking serial murder investigations in British history. What appeared to be an ordinary London street concealed a horrific secret for years, and it was only when a drain became blocked that one of Britain's most notorious killers was finally brought to justice.